Today's all about boating safety, and you've been preaching that message for 30 years now, Betsy, and appreciate all you've done for the agency.
Well, all that to my dad, because I was raised on the lake, and he taught me a lot of stuff. Probably have one of the strongest programs in the whole country, because we do require proctored exams, and I don't know of any other state that does that.
Right.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's come a long way, for sure.
Yeah, even with my time here at the agency, it's changed a lot. Like the WEAR program is one of them that kind of happened close to when I started. It's still going good.
If it weren't for the Wear It program, we wouldn't have our other guest today.
I've always wanted to be an officer for TWRA since I was a little kid. The WEAR internship, one of my good friends had told me about it, and Miss Betsy was the best. It was all about life jackets and boating safety, and I had a lot of fun with it. Being out on the lakes and seeing all of the reckless stuff that does go on,
Yeah.
that really pushed me more towards boating. And started out as a wildlife officer, but as soon as I could, I jumped over to be a full-time boating officer.
So let's jump into the boating season. It's here. What's some of the safety things that we need to be talking about?
You need to have a life jacket for every single person on board the boat. If they're 12 and under, they have to have that on. U.S. Coast Guard approved and in good condition.
Yeah.
The next thing that we're going to be looking for is your fire extinguishers. Make sure that you've got a Type B fire extinguisher. And then, of course, looking for that throwable PFD as well. If your boat's 16 foot or bigger, you got to have one of those throwables.
Won't you take me back to Tennessee?
The award-winning Tennessee Wildcast is on the air with the latest info about hunting, fishing, boating, wildlife watching, and all things outdoors. This year, we celebrate the men and women of the TWRA responsible for 75 years of wildlife conservation. Now make welcome your host, Jason Harmon.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to this edition of Tennessee Wildcast. We're glad you're tuning in. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. We got a great show lined up for you today, and Mr. Don King is helping me co-host.
Yeah, Jason, it's going to be a little bit bittersweet, though, you know?
Yes, sir.
We've got an impending retirement coming up, and but we'll learn more about that here in a little bit.
Yeah. Before we get started, though, you want to highlight a radio station?
Yeah. WOKI news talk station in Knoxville, 98.7. You can hear us there Saturday afternoons, 1:30 to 2. So that's kind of a unique time. A lot of times we're on early in the morning on stations, but
yeah,
that's a great time slot, and we appreciate WOKI and all they do for us, and as well as all our other radio partners as well.
Definitely. Yeah, radio partners are important to us. Everyone who's out there listening on the podcast, thanks for listening there and downloading and subscribing to the show. Thanks for watching on YouTube, and our TV partners are also great out there running the show. So,
yep,
appreciate that, and just help us get the word out. Today's all about boating safety.
Yes.
So that's the important message we want to get out this time of year. It's the middle of June, and that's when everybody's out on the water. They're already out there running crazy, so
and out there already and
fishing, and then
still have most of the summer to go. So that's a cool way to look at it.
So whether you're fishing or just out there enjoying the water and skiing or whatever it may be, we got to practice safe boating, and that's what we're going to talk about today with Miss Betsy Woods and Miranda Garner. Appreciate y'all being here.
Absolutely.
Miss Betsy's going to be leaving us soon.
I know. It's hard to believe.
Yeah.
We've ridden in the truck quite a bit together, going here and there, and
We have.
doing some other radio shows. Primarily one in Memphis. We typically would do that one in Larry Ray's show during Safe Boating Week time.
And I did that this year during Safe Boating Week. Met with Larry Ray. It was his birthday, actually. So it was a
awesome.
birthday celebration.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, it got fun.
Yeah, very cool. Well, in your career, I guess the best of my knowledge, you've been in boating your whole time here. At least the whole time I've been with the agency, you've been in that boating education position. But tell us a bit about your career.
Well, I was hired like 30 years ago doing some federal grant programs for the boating division.
Okay.
And then they did a increase in boat registration fees and created the position for the boating education. And I've been there ever since.
I'm glad they saw the importance of that position.
Yes.
To help keep people on track and know the importance of boating safety.
Yeah, it's come a long way, for sure.
Yeah, even with my time here at the agency, it's changed a lot, and the programs and Like the Wear program is one of them that kind of happened close to when I started. That's a pretty cool program that y'all had going on.
Yeah, that's
Still going good.
It is, yeah.
Hey, if it weren't for the Wear It program, we wouldn't have our other co-host over here, our other guest today.
I had Miranda for 3 years. She's the only intern I've had for more than 2 years. And I had to write a book to DOHR
To make that happen.
make it happen.
It's important we get her a third year, right? Awesome. Well, Miranda Garner, tell us about yourself and a little bit how you got started with the agency and now you're an officer. So, yeah.
Right. So I've always wanted to be an officer for TWRA since I was a little kid. And the Wear internship, one of my good friends had told me about it and that Miss Betsy was the best. So it was all about life jackets and boating safety. And so she thankfully hired me and I had a lot of fun with it. And it's honestly that internship for 3 summers of being out on the lakes and seeing all of the reckless stuff that does go on.
Yeah.
And actually really seeing it for the first time. Because I've grown up hunting and fishing my whole life.
Yeah.
And I didn't really think about it until I started working for Miss Betsy, and just seeing all that really pushed me more towards boating and enforcement. So I got hired on about 4 years ago and started out as a wildlife officer, but as soon as it came available, I jumped over to be a full-time boating officer.
Awesome.
So
that's your role now, and
yes.
you're out there on the water all year long.
Yes, sir.
It's not just a summer gig, is it?
No, especially in Tennessee with all of the different waterways across the state, boating, it's 365 days a year.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep. You got great fishing all year long, and it's just it's a great state to live in. So, yeah, we need you out there all year long. Well, we've met you guys, kind of know a little bit about you. So let's jump into the boating season. It's here. What's some of the safety things that we need to be talking about? I guess first let's talk about equipment that's needed. And I'll let whoever wants to jump in, but it's important that the boat is equipped with the right safety equipment. And what is that?
You go.
Okay. Alrighty. So you need to have a life jacket for every single person on board the boat. Now, if they're 12 and under, they have to have that on unless you're anchored, moored, tied off somewhere. And then after that, you just have to make sure you have one for that person. So if you've got 4 adults on there, you can't have 3 adult life jackets and 1 kid life jacket. It has to be for them, and it's got to be U.S. Coast Guard approved. That's the big important thing. U.S. Coast Guard approved and in good condition.
Yeah.
The next thing that we're going to be looking for is your fire extinguishers. No one ever necessarily thinks about a fire really happening out on the water, but I mean, you got engine trouble or it happens. And so make sure that you've got a type B fire extinguisher. And depending on what length your boat is the different size that you may need. So, and you can find all of those specific requirements on the Coast Guard website.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. That was going to be one of my questions. Depending on the type of boat, whether your engine's enclosed or I mean, not your engine, but your tanks are enclosed, or, depending on how the boat's set up, depends on how big a fire extinguisher you need of the right type.
Right. And then, of course, looking for that throwable PFD as well.
In addition to the wearable.
Right. So if your boat's 16 foot or bigger, you got to have one of those throwables. And it has to be Coast Guard approved as well.
Uh-huh.
It just can't be one of the buoyant seat cushions in some of these nicer boats. It's got to be the U.S. Coast Guard approved throwable one.
Okay. Well, what about a paddle? Is that paddle required?
It's recommended.
Okay.
You don't want to be broke down on the lake without one.
Probably in a boat with me, you might need a paddle. You never know. Okay. All right. So
speaking of life jackets,
go ahead.
There's a lot of different types now, and we are all donning, for the folks that are just listening and not watching us, we each have a personal flotation device on, and these are all inflatables that we're wearing.
Yeah.
So I've got, what do we call this one? The minimalist, you call
It's
it?
a minimalist, yes.
Okay.
And it's a belt type life jacket. It goes around your waist, and it's a manual. So if you get in trouble, you jerk the string, and it will inflate in front of you. Now that's a minimalist, so it doesn't have as much buoyancy as say the belt pack that you're wearing.
The one that I'm wearing. So the one that I'm wearing is a little bit bigger. If you're listening, this one's a little bit wider than Dawn's, but it's still around your waist. doesn't interfere with my tan lines,
or your fishing cast,
or my fishing abilities.
Not at all.
I can fly fish or cast or whatever with this life jacket on, and it still keep you afloat if you hit the water and need it.
Correct.
You got to pull the cord to make it happen, all right?
And once it's inflated, you can't inflate it again. You have to change the cylinders. And unfortunately, I got 3 different types of cylinders right here.
Uh-huh.
They're not all the same. So, like Jason, your life jacket is a screw-in type.
Okay.
So you need to check it periodically, make sure it hadn't screwed out a little bit. The one I don't have one for you, but it's smaller than this small one.
Oh, okay.
I just don't have one yet.
Okay.
And then the one that Miranda's wearing, now that's a hydrostatic life jacket. And those automatically inflate when they get below 4 inches of water.
Okay.
And that's this is probably the highest end life jacket that's out there on the market. And it's a good one.
And that's important. I mean, if you hit the water and you lose consciousness for whatever reason, you've hit your head or whatever, that one will take care of that problem.
Right. Now, I have automatic life jackets, kind of the mid-range between the manual and the hydrostatic, and those will automatically inflate once they become wet.
Uh-huh.
But that one's pressurized, and the other ones are not. So
do they make one with a tablet inside that dissolves? Is that still
that's
around?
the automatic.
Automatic. Okay.
Once that tablet dissolves and gets wet, it will inflate.
Okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Well, and we're all wearing inflatables today, but there are other types too. Can you go talk about some of the other types?
Well, you have the wearable device, the inland wearable device, and that takes the place of the old life jacket types, the vest type life jacket. The type codes are going away. They're calling them wearable, throwable, or inflatable.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, and then you still have the near shore life jacket. That's like the old type 2, the orange collar type. Nobody likes.
Love them. Yeah.
Yeah. And then the wearables are the type 3, and then you have the inflatables.
Okay. And we may have mentioned this already, but remind folks, inflatables aren't for everybody, right?
Correct.
So what's the age limits on those?
16. If you're 16 younger, they're not approved for that.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Yeah. So don't put an inflatable on a 16-year-old or younger, right?
And also for personal watercraft, it's different too, isn't it, for the inflatables?
You cannot wear inflatables on personal watercraft or whitewater activities or towing activities.
Yes.
All right. Yeah. So it's important. Life jackets are important, and there's different types out there. There's different times you can and cannot wear them. So make sure you know, right?
Yeah.
Read the label.
There you go. Yeah, they all come with a label, and the Coast Guard approved symbol is what is supposed to be on there, right?
And that label will tell you what restrictions there are. So
awesome. Okay, cool. Well, before the show's over, we're going to pull a cord on a couple of these.
Yeah.
But I thought maybe we could get through a few more topics before we pull it. So stay tuned. Don't leave us. But so we've kind of touched on some of the equipment, life jackets, the fire extinguisher, the throwable, and that's what y'all are looking for on safety checks out on the water. Anything else that you can think of? I had on my list engine cutoff. Talk about an engine cutoff switch. That's important, having that thing connected to you, right?
Absolutely. It's not going to do you a bit of good unless you're wearing it. In Tennessee, it is a law requirement if you're operating a jet ski or personal watercraft that it is attached to the operator. But it is a good practice to do even if you're not on personal watercrafts, because if something happens and you get slung down in your boat, or heaven forbid you get slung out of your boat, having that cutoff switch is important, because as you exit the boat, it's going to kill the motor. It's going to cut it off, and then you're not going to have to worry about your boat running and either hitting somebody else, or most oftentimes it'll start doing that circle.
Yeah.
And if you're anywhere close, you could get run over by your own boat. So it's very important that you not only wear it, but make sure that the actual lanyard isn't dry rotted. You know, if you leave it on your boat 365, you might have to replace it every year, every 2 years, just to make sure that it's good. And have it hooked onto you. Don't just hold it. Hook it onto your life jacket.
Right.
A lot of the life jackets come with hooks for you to hook it on.
Yeah.
Or put it on your wrist, put it around your leg. just make sure that you have it all.
Yeah, somewhere that if it exits that boat, it pulls it and kills it.
Right.
Kills that switch. And you talk about that boat turning and spinning. I've seen video of them spinning and spinning and spinning. And it's not so much the boat hitting you, although that could hurt and could probably knock you out, but that propeller is still spinning. That's what's making it go. That is dangerous.
Yes. Oh, yes.
Yeah. So be careful out there and wear that cutoff switch. Boating under the influence. Talk a little bit about that. That's a no-no too, right?
Yes, it is. It is. So we've got a special time of year in the summertime, usually around 4th of July weekend, whenever water traffic is super congested. Everyone's
really
going out there.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. And so that's usually time for Operation Dry Water. And that's just where all of your water patrol agencies across the U.S., typically your DNRs like TWRA, and it's a saturated patrol effort to make sure that we get impaired operators off the water, because BUI equals DUI every day of the week.
Yep.
So
that was one of the big things that just passed this past year.
Yeah, last July, I guess. It
right, yeah.
In fact, didn't it?
Right. And another thing to think about, if you are going to drink on the water while you're operating, keep in mind that 1 beer on the water is equivalent to having 3 on land, just because of all the other environmental stressors. So if you absolutely must, keep that in consideration, because
definitely.
1 can get you somewhere that you don't need to be, especially if you're going to be behind the wheel.
Yeah.
And that's why we're out there. We're out there because at the end of the day, we want everyone to go home. That is the main goal. So if you're going to be behind the wheel impaired while boating, we're going to find you, because we don't want anybody to get hurt out there.
Definitely.
And it's hard knowing where that line is between, have I had just enough or too much? It's so hard, and it varies between people too, because their tolerances. So, you know what? I think that the best deal is just don't do it.
Don't do it.
If the driver can just be, just be totally sober.
Right. Have a designated driver.
Yep.
100%.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's the middle of June and we've already had too many fatalities on the water. Not all associated with BUI, but there's been some fatalities, and we talked about life jackets. Life jackets can save lives there. If you're boating under the influence, have that life jacket on.
Right.
It can save you there. But yeah, it's they all play a important factor. They all play together, to help get you off the water safely. So
I want you to have a good time with your family and friends. And like Miranda said, we want you to go home to your family at the end of the day.
Right.
yeah, I mean, you've been preaching that message for 30 years now, Betsy, and
And I think everybody before me was preaching it for 30 years. So-
that message hasn't changed. And I know you've had a passion for this program and this career for a long time, and it really shows in your education and your efforts, and appreciate all you've done for the agency.
Well, I owe all that to my dad, because I was raised on the lake, and he taught me a lot of stuff. So.
Yeah, that's neat.
Yeah,
And-
that's cool. I didn't know that.
And the importance of being safe. So,
Yeah,
yeah.
definitely. Well, we appreciate all that you've done for sure.
And speaking of the education component too, I mean that's come on board since you've been in this position too, Betsy. And kudos to you for helping shepherd that program and getting. So how many people, I mean, just ballpark, have been certified in boating safety since?
Oh, I don't know, but I do know that
Lots.
we're averaging 12 to 15,000 a year now.
Wow.
So,
Cool.
Yeah, it's come a lot. And we probably have one of the strongest programs in the whole country, because we do require proctored exams. And I don't know of any other state that does that.
Right.
Oh, okay. Awesome.
And I always equate that to this part of it anyway, to hunter ed, because a lot of times you'll see, young kids in hunter ed, of course, because they technically needed the certification, but then also the parents bring them there and they sit in the classes and they are enlightened in a lot of things that they didn't think they were going to learn, but in a lot of ways I would assume that's the way with the boating course too, because
I don't know about Miranda when she teaches, but I make the parents take the exam too.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah.
Yeah, you might as well.
I said it's not going to cost you anything, and
Yeah.
you might learn something.
Yeah.
That, and I know with some insurance companies for boats, if they go ahead and take it, even though they're not required by law, it could get you a cheaper rate. So that's usually the way that I pitch it to them is, you might get a cheaper deal if you got insurance,
Yeah. Yeah. Well, remind folks what the age limit on the boating education is. I mean, born after what year do you have to have?
If you're born after January 1st, 1989,
Okay.
you have to have it. Yes. So we're hitting 33-year-olds right now.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
So if you're 33 or younger,
If you're
right? Or how's that work?
Well, actually,
if you're 33 today on June 15th, then you need it.
Okay, there you go. There you go. That's how I'm sorry. We'll skip that. Okay, cool. So I'm thinking about the boater who hasn't been out yet. And they're looking forward to maybe this coming up weekend. They want to get out, but their boat's been in storage. What's something they need to be looking at or thinking about before they get that boat out of storage and get it on the water?
The first thing I would recommend is checking your trailer. A lot of people don't think about that. They just think about, okay, I got to have my life jackets. I got to have all my safety equipment. Have I changed the oil in the motor? Any other kind of maintenance for motor? Checking your nav lights. That's another thing that you need to make sure works before you go out.
You're out at night for sure.
Yes. And so trailer maintenance, that's kind of a forgotten thing but it's probably one of the most important things because how else are you going to get your boat to the water?
yeah.
So always make sure that your tires are good. They're not dry rotted, not flat. Make sure none of the metal's showing yet. Check your hubs, your bearings. Make sure all that's good to go.
Because they can catch on fire, right?
Yeah, they can. Yeah. It's happened before.
Just a little side story. When Miranda was working for the Wear It crew, the brakes actually locked up on you, right?
Yes.
On your trailer, and it started catching fire.
Yes, the Wear It boat trailer. We were, my partner at the time, Brant Luker, which he's an officer now too. We were, I don't know where exactly we were going.
on I-40.
Yes, we were on I-40 coming off by the airport, and we weren't thinking anything of it, but we had been previously having issues with some of the surge braking mechanisms on the trailer locking up every now and then, especially whenever we were trying to back it up. But we figured, forward's fine. Well, not quite. We were going down the interstate, getting off the ramp, and we were used to people waving at us in the Wear It truck. So we had a truck roll by, and they're waving at us, and we waved back, smiling, and they were like, "No, it's on fire." We're like, "Yeah, we know, we on fire, we're cool." And then I look down in the rearview mirror and it's like, oh no, the trailer is on fire.
Literally on fire.
So it ended up the trailer brakes had locked up on us going down the interstate. So that was a fun day.
But we had a fire extinguisher in the boat.
Yeah.
Right.
And you're able to put that out.
Yes, we did.
So Amanda hopped up and got it and put it out. That's awesome.
So make sure your equipment is in good working order. That in that case, the fire extinguisher came into play there and helped you out. All the brakes. We didn't know what was going on there, but just make sure all the equipment is ready to go.
I guess something similar could happen with the bearings locking up too. If they aren't greased adequately, and just lock up the axle and the tires become inflamed.
Oh yes,
so to speak.
So, like she said, check all those components. Dry rot. All the different things. The engine and
make sure your tie down straps are good too.
Yeah. Don't want to lose the boat going down the interstate. So, all right, cool. All right, so I want to touch on this flyer that went out a while back, but I know you guys are doing brownie points for safety checks, and you're going to be rewarding people for safe boating. So tell folks a little bit about that. If they see you on the water, they can approach you and maybe win a prize.
So which Miss Betsy could probably talk about where this came from.
Okay.
But so we're going to be handing out, and we have been handing out Chick-fil-A gift cards for brownies. If we see folks out there, especially kiddos in life jackets, that is the law, but we love seeing it.
Oh, yeah.
And especially if the parents are going to wear the life jackets right there with the kids. as long as you're boating safely and got everybody in life jackets and stuff, we may come up and it's not going to be an enforcement stop kind of thing. It's going to be, hey, we're so glad that you're out here. We're glad that y'all are doing everything safely.
Yeah.
And here, have a brownie.
Brownie.
So, yeah, absolutely.
Little positive reinforcement.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Can't beat it.
Yeah.
They can be redeemed anywhere in the United States.
Oh, that's nice. Yeah.
So there's a fella in Maryville that has 2 franchises, and he gives us to us. This is our 3rd year that he's doing that. He believes so much in what we're doing.
Awesome.
I remember him visiting a commission meeting.
Correct. Yeah. Great
last
guy.
year. Yeah. And he's just doing this pretty much on his own, isn't he?
Yeah, it comes out of his pocket. So
Wow.
yeah, he's a terrific guy.
That's great.
Yeah, I really enjoyed meeting him in person.
That's cool. Yeah. Well, I want to touch on what retirement looks like for you, Betsy. What are you going to be getting into on your free time now?
My free time, well, I got lots of projects waiting on me. But, I do enjoy fishing, and I enjoy gardening, and I enjoy sewing, and I enjoy cooking, and
Grandkids?
grandkids. Got 3 of those, so yeah. So I'm just going to kind of see what comes as it is. I like to travel, but I don't see any travel right here in the near future. But
Yeah. Well, that's great. That's great. Well, like we said, and just appreciate all you've done for the agency and boaters out there. And
yeah, well, it's been a great ride.
yeah.
And work with some incredible people, and just made a lot of friends, and it's been great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, Miranda, before we wrap up here, do you want to, I know you also love to fish. Do you want to share any fishing tips or tips for the fishermen out there?
Just be careful. Have fun with it. Bass fishing, it's picking back up on Kentucky Lake, and so is crappie. I know that's been a complaint because that's my patrol area is Kentucky Lake.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
been a complaint for the past few years. It's gone down, but we're on the upswing of it. So
Awesome.
if you're looking for somewhere to fish, just come on out there, and maybe I'll stop by and say hello.
All right. Awesome. Awesome. All right, Don, do you want to pull your cord?
Oh, yeah.
We got to pull the cord for Betsy here.
It's a minimalist.
So this is the minimalist. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Here we go. Watch out. Oh, yeah. Okay. Now I got this. I can grab it.
That
Put
goes, yeah, you can grab it or put it
it over my head. Okay. Well, I got headphones on, so it probably won't work today, but
It's much smaller.
that is smaller. It doesn't have as much inflation, so, but,
But it'll keep you afloat if you need it.
oh, yeah,
Yeah.
sure will. That's awesome.
Awesome.
Okay.
All right. So is it my turn?
Yeah, I believe it is.
So this is the a little bit bigger one compared to what you had.
Yep.
So it's the next up from the minimalist, I guess.
That comes into a full-fledged life jacket.
So this will, okay, here we go.
Pull harder, Jason.
Oh, look at that.
She played a trick on me.
Oh, look at there.
It won't do you good.
Hey, you know what?
Unless you check your equipment.
It's kind of like
That's
when you
perfect.
go up to jump out of an airplane.
Oh.
You need to check your own parachute, right? Yeah.
Oh, so Betsy got me on that one. So always check your equipment. Make sure your CO2 is screwed in and ready to go. Look at that. All right, but yeah, throw it over your head and you'll be safe.
You can manually blow it up too.
Oh, yeah.
That might take a while. All right. Well, Betsy, I appreciate you coming in today and helping
Well,
us
thank you.
learn a little bit about more boating safety before you're on your way out. And thank you for all you've done.
Yeah, thank you,
you.
Betsy,
Thank
for
you. Appreciate
for the legacy of safety and just boating info you've
Well, thanks. We've had
Left.
fun, hadn't we?
Oh, yeah.
yeah.
It's been fun, for sure.
Yeah.
Miranda, thank you for being here with us today.
Thanks for having me.
We'll have you in again, I'm sure, down the road somewhere.
We'll see you on the water.
Yeah.
Yes.
All right. Well, this is Tennessee Wildcast. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. And we'll see you next time.
Stay connected with TWRA by visiting our website at tnwildlife.org and follow us on Facebook, X, and Instagram. Join us as we celebrate 75 years of conservation in our great state. You can invest in Tennessee's wildlife future by purchasing a license at GoOutdoorsTennessee.com. That's GoOutdoorsTennessee.com.